We had that debate a super long time ago, I remember, Mad Wheels, where there wasn't enough stuff in the game that was bad to recall, essentially, right? We didn't really have a lot of stuff in the game that had, like, very strong on-summon and on-play effects that you could be like, haha, my entire board, if my opponent Will of Ionia is anything, then I get to play my thing again and get another crazy proc of my effect. It was like this. Will of Ionia, you used it to answer your opponent's, like, 4 or 5 drops. And then you had to spend that mana again to redevelop, and then you might have needed to wait another round thereafter in order to even have the attack token. So Will of Ionia wasn't just, oh, my thing left play. It was, my thing is not useful for like 3 or more rounds. And this is while elusives are beating you up the entire time. So it wasn't just that it didn't have good targets. It was that the deck that was abusing it at the time could also end the game very, very, very quickly within that time period that it bought itself with Will. And the only counter to Will was deny. You had to be running Ionia to beat Ionia. What's the most expensive playable unit? We've got, like, Spectral Matron to, like, cheat out 10 costs, and that's about it. Yeah, Carmine Ezreal also abused that card, exactly, because it bought you so much time. It's the same thing that we've experienced before with, like, Death from Below and Defiant Dance, stuff like that. Where if your opponent plays like a mid-game threat or some sort of stabilization, so I can take this damage and then just Tavern Keeper it off. Yeah, that's fine.
Welcome to the Tipsy Owl.
Yeah, Aurelion Sol doesn't count since you cheat him in peak, or you play Eclipse Dragon to play him on 8, and even then he's not that good, or you try to get him into play for free with Thresh. But in terms of just, like, playing big things on curve, I think that that Stairs is probably the only one that people legit play, because it has such a powerful effect. Leviathan, for a bit, that was the case. You could get away with playing Leviathan. But Leviathan lost to Vengeance really, really hard, and now it still does. But they get combat real. I remember when Hecarim was broken. Bellows Breath. That's fine. They're wiping their board too. Yeah, that's actually, we're chilling. That's fine for me. Why did they not do that on the other 3 too? Oh yeah, because it says tough. I guess they just really want to boost up the Pan of Pain specifically, rather than forging the combat reel. They can't level up Ornn because I'm a Frostbite deck. I literally won't let them. I like Rime Tusk Shaman here.
Bring me the calm of an ice-shrouded world.
Quietus also lets us kill equipment. We don't need to use it as a kill spell in this matchup. Yeah, if any ally strikes for 10, he'll level.
Real easy. Back to reel it in.
Rime Tusk Shaman being a 3/3 was like one of the wildest things ever in this game. I swear to God. Do I block like this? I think this is fine. Eternal Dancers, yeah, that's a good example of like a solid 6-drop. Just because it's like, it's a game-ending threat. It has to be answered. Same thing with like Shellfolk, right? Shellfolk was like another playable 6-drop because it ends the game if you don't immediately kill it. Riot can't make Vladimir viable. Well, that's not necessarily true. The sorts of cards that Vladimir would want in order to become viable are the sorts of cards that would break other archetypes, and Vladimir would still get left in the dust. God, I guess we just play Ashe.
All the world on one arrow.
That is not true. If we think really, really, really hard about it, we might be able to come up with a card that is only good in Vladimir and makes him viable. and no other decks want it.
Strike while the iron is hot. Knocked and ready.
Need a Vlad boat? No, that's not the reason. Vladimir is bad because you have to run so much synergy in your deck to make Vladimir worth it that you can't run answers to stuff. So you just get run over by anything that you can't interact with or anything that doesn't care about what you're actually doing. And not to mention just aggro and burn, right? That's why Vladimir's always been bad, because the deck can run like Tavern Keeper, and that's like literally the only thing it can make room for in the deck. There was a moment in time where you could do like Scarmother Vrina stuff at people, but now that we have like Hush in the game, there's no way Vladimir's ever going to be viable ever again.
I've got an idea.
You can't fish through a Yordle portal. I tried.
Damn.
Aberrosins,
I
stand
think I
together.
sacked the Ash here.
My aim is true.
I said bonk.
Continue without me.
That could be a way to do it, Mad Wheels. Rotate Vladimir and just print a better version of him. And so now I have Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They could Ornn to get this big Pan of Pain. It's got a lot of forging on it. If they do that, I probably just Vengeance, though, to be real. Noxus 2-drop, make it a 1/5. I take 1 damage each round start. I don't think there's any 8-drop played in multiple decks. There's like Jawfish and Lurk, Stairs and Buried. 6 seems to be the camp for a unit that is played in multiple non-similar decks and not in a 2 or 3 set. I think Freljord should have more cards that reward damaged units, like Take Heart. Perhaps. They need a contingency for Scargrounds and cards that actually want to take damage.
Those coals.
Precisely. Frozen in Fear getting big. My opponent has big weapon.
The frost reveals all to me.
Bjerg for Ash.
Will no one listen?
Just a Den Mother. That's fine. Could go for a Frozen in Fear here. The weapon covers everything. Oh, that's pretty good. Demacia still has no archetype. I mean, Elites just never got a chance. Demacia Freljord, that deck like shows up every once in a while and it feels pretty good. We've even got Lord Guard or whatever his name is, the guy Nexus boy. That card's only good in timelines, you know what I mean? Lord Eldrith, yeah. That card's literally just a buff to timelines.
Careful, sync angles real easy.
Interesting that they re-equipped there. I thought they were going to equip onto Hearthblood Mender.
What's the lesson today, Fiska?
Keep hair clear of the fire, Kindra. Take it from me.
Scarground / damage taking deck strategies can be pretty obnoxious since the main way to remove units is to damage them. So if that archetype ever gets too strong, it can get toxic. How much HP do you have? I mean, we saw it with like Scargrounds versus Scouts, right? Where you play Misfortune and suddenly like you're just inting your entire life. Yeah, we'll just Crystal Arrow, boost up Den Mother a bit. It's a common visual bug when like the tough like thing goes shing back into place. Like it sometimes blocks the HP.
How did you win so many fishing competitions? I should say hard work, but
Vladimir, it obviously is just a failed concept. There's no shame in it. You know what I mean? Do I want to just Iceveil Archer first and then Den Mother? Sure.
A true Freljordian will.
It's not, it like, when you design a card and you're thinking like, okay, well,
Bar the doors.
I'm running the risk of giving them a trade here if one of these last 2 cards is like Catch or Sharesies. No, it doesn't matter. No, Scarzig's would work. No, but the Scarzig's, that's interesting. Scarzig's would work. Because the weapon itself carries over, not the frostbite. It would work. You're dedicating your entire deck so you can drain 5 on their Nexus. The idea is to get, like, a very specific board set up in Synergy. And then, like, with Vlad and Tarkaz and, you know, Death Lotus or whatever else, you just have a bunch of pings that proc your Scar Grounds or self-damage your own guy. Stuff like Scar Mother Vrina that get extra attack power when they're buffed. Or, what's the name of that old guy? He's like a 4-mana 4/5 or something that, like, whenever a unit survives damage, it gets +1 attack. Like, you want to proc that guy too.
Send chills up my spine.
Out there!
Or Legion Veteran, I believe it's what it is the name of that card. Legion Veteran. Like, those are the sorts of plays they wanted to try to, like, set up. But we have so many tools in the game that invalidate that. Because big stats only matter when they're attached to Elusive or Overwhelm, right?
You're up, Chumbucket.
And so anything with Overwhelm in that deck is very, very telegraphed. So if I hit Entomb on this and they don't have another debuff, it is lethal. So I think I am going to go for it. Yeah, in this position, I think going for lethal is acceptable. Because even if they survive, I still have gigantic blockers in play that invalidate these and Rime Tusk Shaman. And if they draw a second Ornn, I have Frozen in Fear. We're chilling. Swain or Soraka, Vlad Soraka was a concept I got excited about. It released and which is disappointing. Yeah, you've got to run like Stargazer. I think Mogwai built that deck for YouTube just to try it out. Ah, nice. So they have their own Entomb. And they lose their weapon, by the way. When you Entomb something, it's obliterated. Oh, baby. Ornn's Forge. We're scaling now.
Come on in.
And this is going to hatch onto my next attack token for an open attack. Actually, this is going to be reset, isn't it? No, this is Rhymefang Den Mother. No, it's a Rhymefang pack. It's a Rhymefang pack. Never mind. So it's going to be reset to a 1/1. It comes back exact, doesn't it? Ooh, it is exact? Okay, maybe we're chilling then. Yeah, Capture resets the stats. Entomb summons exact. Yeah, I'm thinking of Capture. Getting Entombed and Capture are two different things. What if I just Quietus to destroy this big-ass Pan of Pain and just call it a day? In before it doubles because it summons exact and then rebuffs itself. So they don't have Ornn, so we can Frozen in Fear. I tried him with Braum using Infinite Poros. Try him with Demacia, Tough J4. That's Fire Earth number 3. They just got unlucky. They needed to hit like Parts Made Whole and Enchanting Lure. Does the game need more Capture? It's a type of removal that's rarely used. Capture had a moment. There was like a split in the path where Capture maybe could have been like pushed a little bit more as a Demacia mechanic or a better mechanic. But I think that Tom Kench kind of showed us that it's too binary, right? Capture's way too binary of a mechanic.